I'm going to get myself a reference line. I don't want it exactly halfway through, but for the benefits of the sketch, I want to keep this in place here. And even though I typically go rule of thirds, we're going to feature the spaceship a little bit more in this one than I did in some of the others, because detailing the spaceships is a lot of fun to me, and I think it may be kind of entertaining to watch. So what I'm doing here is I'm scribing up some lines that look reasonably good in perspective. And there we go. I might put in a couple in the other direction here, just for reference sake. And usually I don't straight edge these. Usually I just go right ahead and throw these right in freehand. But since I'm building a structure and I have it in my hand, why not? There we go. Alrighty. So my inspiration for a lot of these things are a lot of the paintings that I've seen growing up, all the science fiction artists that I've followed in the past, and John Berkey, I've mentioned him before, is definitely one of them. So we're going to have a little bit of a John Berkey theme here, but also there was a game out, gosh, a long time ago. It was called Homeworld, and so what I want to do is, Homeworld had lots of fleets of spaceships, which made it particularly appealing to me because I'm a spaceship kind of guy. And they were these tall ships. They were very, very tall, thin, almost like an angelfish, maybe a little thinner in profile. And so I kind of want to capture some of that tonight. And I want to get some lines in here. Let's see. Let's sort of follow this along. So this is going to be a fantastic design of futuristic technology that we don't even have, they were barely dreaming of. Well, we dream of it, it's in TV shows. I just want to kind of get some shapes in here that I can work with and detail up. This is kind of looking hammerheadish, but that's quite okay. So it'd be an upright hammerhead screaming away into space. I'm just trying to sort of get the forms in place for this. There we go. So that's going to be a pretty good size in comparison to the rest of the image. And the background for this, I'm going to keep it, it's going to be pretty dark. I'm kind of thinking that, and this is just the outline of the shape, I'll fill some of this in later, but because this shape is going pretty much straight up and down, carving the scene right in half, I want to kind of come up with sort of an angle here that would bisect the shape at about a 45-degree angles. And in the background, I'm just going to have a hint of a galaxy, which we'll paint in sort of a galactic cloud arm, if you will. Something around here. And having this strike at an angle across the scene will be a little dramatic. It'll help offset the spacecraft itself. There we go. Alrighty, that's just a reference here. We're going to have some fun with this. And I like planning these not just for the ship itself, but also with the backgrounds, because really just kind of a spaceship against white, it's fun, looks good, but to really bring these alive, you need an environment. They need a place to live. I'm going to start sounding very Bob Ross here. What the heck? That's half the fun, right? My gosh. Alrighty here. And maybe we'll just draw in a happy little planet. Yes. There we go. We'll put that in there. That's good enough for showbiz. Good enough for here. So now, kind of want to get some details on this ship. I like this idea of these vessels that are enormous, and they're almost, and this is definitely a John Berkey thing. These things are almost like yachts, if you will. They imply by their shape that there's some kind of gravity that goes downwards. so an artificial gravity of some sort, which I know the purists out there aren't very fond of in terms of actual physics and spacecraft, but you know what? This is fantasy. We're going to do what we want. Let the naysayers be damned. They can go draw their own ships. I'm kidding. There's all different kinds. I do traditional spacecraft shapes and designs as well, but they always end up looking like the Ares from The Martian, just because you're inevitably going to be ending up with a stick that has some round bits attached to it for spinning centrifugal gravity, centripetal, depending on how you are, but little gravity modules that spin a la 2001: A Space Odyssey. So they all kind of look the same, and then you end up having to draw nothing but ellipses and sticks, and that's all fine. I'll do some ellipses and sticks at another point. Alright. So here we go here, just trying to get some details in, and I'm going in loosely because I'd like to kind of paint in some of the details, but it sort of looks like a wing on its side, and I realize that's really what we're kind of going for here. Try to bring out some of the more elegant shapes. Maybe this has a... I'm going to do a little bit of a cutout here. There we go. Watch, I'll draw this stuff in and then end up painting over it, which is usually what happens. Alrighty. Here I did this one fine, really confident circle and arc, and then just botch it by squiggling in the rest of it, but that's quite alright. There we go. This is going to be some kind of a dome shape, at least sticking out to the side here. Hope everyone's having a fine evening tonight, in spite of everything. My recommendation is to turn off the news as often as possible. Alrighty. This back end piece is going to be a rather substantial and I'm sure high-tech drive system, because you don't get anti-gravity and faster than light travel without something that is unspeakably complicated and way beyond mere mortals to understand, at least 21st century mortals. There we go. So I'm just leaving room for little vestibules and things that would be little living modules that we can paint in later. There we go. And I'm kind of trying to get in as many of these lines in that match my current hand position as possible. That way we can take advantage of the fact that I'm working at a natural angle without having to pull out rulers and all the other fun things. Alrighty. So, speaking of which, we're going to bring this up here and give this a bit of a nose. Don't be afraid to just turn your page around and get a better angle for it, even if it confuses the heck out of your viewers. And I'm just letting the lines carry the way through. I'm not really worried about erasing or anything, because this will all be covered over with paint anyway, so it's really just sort of reference lines, and you're welcome to put as much or as little detail in as possible here. I'm adding things in just so I can define the shapes. There we go. And honestly, I could probably just do this all day. I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of little bits and pieces of things coming in and around off of this as we go. So I have a lot of area opportunities for fun little gizmos and doohickeys. That's the official term. I was a little late starting up the stream because we had the other thing I still have access to is a lot of baking equipment, and I have been struggling with sourdough, which is something we made a lot at the shop and at our farmers markets. But my sourdough doesn't like the colder temperatures we've been having here, so it's been a little bit of a challenge. And I had a batch that I just pulled out of the oven that is finally looking good. So at the end of all of this, I have some fresh sourdough I'm looking forward to, and that's going to be really cool. There we go. Alrighty. Sort of looks like a Conehead ship. And that may or may not be a good thing. So, let's see. Kind of looking at it. Yikes. I think I'm going to add a few extra bits. I think I want to bring this shape back here a bit more. Beef that out a bit. There we go. Do something of a cut in here. If I were to erase, I'd probably erase this line right here, because that one is definitely throwing me off. I think we're going to tuck in this little corner here with a something that looks very definitely 20th century engine. And I'm always going to things like aircraft engines and their shapes, because that was a pretty common one. I mean, we see it every day. We know what they are. And if an object reads as engine or drive, it will work out well for the benefit of your illustration. So, and we'll get a lot of little supporting structures in there to hold that up in place, and a really nice, crazy engine glow coming out of the back of that. There we go. Alrighty. Liking where this is going. Let's just see if we can't button up the bottom here a little bit. So this is a cutout. This is a piece that's going to come down here. And it's important that you get, at least in your head, an idea of where the shapes are going. That's why these little contour lines are going to help out. It's something that will help you later on when you're doing any kind of rendering, so you can understand where the light is going to be and where shadows exist. Because we are going to have, I'm envisioning this to have the light coming in from the front and up a little bit. So a lot of this will be in a shadow, not a perfect shadow, but a shadow nonetheless. And here we go. Really, I'm just kind of letting a lot of these shapes be determined by the forms that are already out here. Actually, that's one that would come out this way a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. We're gonna have some fun with that section in the back here. Not gonna be a lot going on in the top up here, so maybe I'll make sure to add some extra stars to give this a feeling of motion, or that it is definitely in space. There we go. Cool. Just gotta make one adjustment. Bear with me here for just a second here. And see where some of my controls were on the side, so I want to mess around with that without completely distracting everything else. There we go. We're just learning how to be an art streamer as best we can. Yes. Alright. I'm looking at this and it's really not that round, but we'll correct that in post. So maybe we'll have a couple of planets just to offset this a little bit. There we go. Corrected in post. Yes. Alright. I think I've got... I'm going to do one more correction up there. There we go. Alright. Now, a lot of these little areas in here are going to have a lot of little details. I'm giving myself opportunities to come in and have fun with the rendering of the ship once I get the paint down. But I feel like it's giving it definite motion. I've got some things offsetting it and framing it. Should be in pretty good shape. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Also, catch my weekly stream over on Twitch every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Thank you.